P.O.P podcast, let's go. The P.O.P podcast, let's go. The P.O.P podcast starts now.
Hello and welcome to the the P.O.P podcast. I'm Jason Sirotin. Today I'm joined by my co-host Scott Haley. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jason. Good to be here.
I'm doing great too. Obviously, nothing's wrong with me. I'm totally fine. Joining us today on the show, we have Dr. Kory Grahl. Did I say that right, Kory?
Yeah.
And he's from Orthobar. Orthobar is located in Las Vegas, Nevada. Dr. Grahl, nice to meet you. How are you?
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about your practice? I want to know, because I've never, this is the coolest ortho website I've ever seen.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because it didn't start that way. We could dive into that too.
Looks great.
Basically, I grew up in San Diego, and then, I went back east for undergrad, play hockey back there, and then went to dental school at UNLV. So I graduated back in 2017. I practiced for a number of years, and then decided that I saw, quite a bit of bad ortho out there and wanted to make a change in the profession. And so I think, as we all know, when sometimes talking to specialists, they, kind of treat the GP as kind of stay in your lane sort of thing. And so, if you can't beat them, you join them. And so I went to residency, and that's where I kind of, rekindled an old relationship with my business partner, Brady. And so we both graduated dental school at the same time, same class. And, I said, hey man, we were both associates. And I said, let's build something that's of significance that makes a difference in people's lives. And, so shook hands. And then that's when the journey began, building Orthobar and kind of creating a kind of a different feel in the ortho kind of market.
Scott, when did you and Kory get connected? How did the P.O.P relationship begin?
Kory, I don't even know how you came in, to be honest.
I think it was Dr. Nichols. I think he introduced us. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So, and then Kory attended our annual meeting, first annual meeting, and away we go from there. So that's how we've been connected. And, in the scheme of things, you're like almost a founder in this group, Kory. You got in early. I think you were like,
we got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah. Just remember, in 10 years from now, when I hand you a plaque or something,
You
made it. Early adapter. You're an early adapter. So tell us a little bit. I think your journey, it sounds like you and your partner Brady's journey is similar to a lot of people, right? Like ortho residency, working as an associate, trying to juggle that and building a practice. Talk about some of the decisions that go into that. And you obviously, with younger orthodontists coming out, you talk to a lot of them too, and you understand their fears. Let's just talk about the psyche of the younger orthodontist and that decision-making process of, do you wish you would have done it earlier? Was it the right amount of time? Ideally, you have purchased a practice and it just becomes a function of there's nothing to buy? I mean, go through that decision tree and with us.
Yeah. So I think Brady and I's journeys are different in the sense that we were associates as general dentists. And, we worked at a couple very high-end practices doing cosmetic dentistry, implant dentistry, all sorts of things, right? And from that learning experience, it's very difficult to be an associate, I think, long-term, if you want to try and create your own kind of niche. It's always going to be under kind of that ownership group or ownership doctor until you kind of fully buy in. And sometimes the philosophies might be a little bit different that don't kind of work its way out. And so, we started the journey of Orthobar in residency together. And now we're venturing on almost 2 years of being open. And so from that, we were able to basically we had a building that we found in the southwest of Las Vegas. It's dirt. It's just got the walls up. And so let's recreate this environment. And, the difficulties as an associate is, you have to mold within the current system that's there, which, listen, I worked with some amazing doctors and I learned a whole bunch of how to run a business. They kind of opened it up to me to do that. And so a lot of the principles that we use today in our office come from that and come from Brady's experiences too. On the other side too, it's what we didn't want to do as owners. And honestly, as an associate, you don't really know if you have what it takes because you don't make those tough decisions. If it becomes tough, the owner's going to take care of it. It's their business, or the ownership group's going to take care of it. And, there's certain things in that are difficult, especially, it's big type A personalities, right? You want to have some control over that, some say in that. And so we knew just Brady and I's personalities early on, like we can't be that 20-year associate. You can't work for someone else. We want to build something different. And so really it comes from the vision that we have for orthodontics. And, we don't really ever talk about what we do as far as brackets and wires. It's important, right? I think we use the best products that we can and we don't cut corners on that end. But it's really the entire environment is the patient experience. And I've learned that from my associateships is like people talking from a general dental perspective, like they don't know what the x-ray looks like when you cement a crown in or do a filling or any of that. It's, did you hurt them? How was the visit? Was it on time? How'd you make them feel? And so everything that we do in our environment, in our business is surrounded about patient experience. And then obviously delivering treatment is key. You can't just be a hack, right? And say, okay, here you go. But you got to have some form of delivery. And I think we, do a really good job at that. But that's how our vision of Orthobar is. Now we have a long-term kind of vision of what we want to do to kind of address those younger orthodontists that might not have the juice to jump in and do something like this. Cause it does take a journey.
Having, built the practice over the last 2 years, can you tell us about what getting patients? I mean, you weren't buying a practice, you were starting fresh. What was your journey like in starting from zero with no patients? What was your approach?
It's scary, no doubt. Like Brady and I are very confident guys. I mean, we both grew up, captains of our sports teams, very, you just go and win, right? And to start from nothing is a scary place to be. Now, we're both graduates from UNLV, and so our networks are here, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to refer to you, especially on the orthodontic side, because everything you do is 14 to 24 months of treatment time, right? And so you have to have a mindset of you're going to be real skinny real quick for a long period of time until your brand starts to take shape and your smiles start to get out there. Now, we could argue who has the best smiles and whatnot. Personally, unbiased opinion, of course, think we're delivering the best smiles in Las Vegas. And so eventually that brand starts to form. But yeah, when you have 0 patients on the schedule, it's a scary thing. You're getting yourself out there. And I mean, being both general dentists, right? I remember the days specialists would come to the office and want to meet the doctor, and it's locked down up front with the office manager in the front office. You're not getting back. Dr. Grahl refers to so-and-so, right? And so, bringing our staff out there to, introduce ourselves and, have that kind of proof of concept with them takes time, and it's still taking time. I mean, we've grown significantly since then, but, it's still a constant thing that's on your mind to deliver the best possible care to our co-patients at that point.
On the marketing side, I mean, it sounds like what you've described as a lot of boots on the ground, a lot of relationships. Is there other things that you've done from a marketing aspect to get that phone to ring?
Yeah, I think it's social media presence. I think the hardest thing, believe it or not, on a startup is marketing. It's going to be a huge percentage of your budget, and anything marketing you have to let it work and for it to take time. The caveat there is a lot of marketing firms have their way to do it, what works for the majority. And we've gotten caught a couple times in that, in saying we are not the majority. Scott, you know me, I think we've talked multiple times now, I'm pretty blunt and very upfront. And so my expectations are very high, and most marketing companies will say, yeah, we got you. We can do that. And then when it comes to the time to do it, they don't. And so we have had to pivot and take a couple monetary dollars off the chin just to be able to keep pushing forward. And so that's when you said, I like the website. It's like, thank you. It's finally our vision, right? Because again, it goes back into patient experience. If the website, which is pretty much the first impression they have of you, and then they come in here and it's a completely different environment, then it doesn't flow. And then automatically, just unconsciously, they're like, oh, something's off.
Right.
Yeah, I see this and I think new experience, clean, high tech, like that's the vibe it's putting out.
Appreciate it.
Very aesthetically pleasing. It kind of matches the, from what I'm seeing, meeting you and the vibe, it's carrying over nicely. And I'm sure that plays really well in Vegas, that aesthetic, and the building looks phenomenal. How did, and you'll have to excuse me, I might have missed this, but how did you guys get the money to do what you did? Because that's a huge stumbling block for a lot of folks.
Therein lies one of the biggest issues, right? This is not 20 years ago where you graduate dental school, maybe $50,000 in debt, and then go to a bank and say, hey, loan me X number of dollars, right? And so, we went out and talked with multiple banks. The beauty of what Brady and I had was, we worked prior. So we had a little bit tucked away to where, hey, these guys aren't a major risk. And then, the little bit different part too is that, it's a partnership too, which has its pros and cons on a bank side, a view side of that too. But the weird part to me is, if I, Kory Grahl, go out and ask a bank for a startup loan, right? They'd be no problem. Here's 550, here's 600. But together, we didn't get 1.2 million to do a startup. As soon as you hit $1 million mark on any bit of loan dollars, that they start to tighten up a little bit, right? And so it wasn't. We knew we had to bring some money to the table to build what we want to.
Yeah.
But again, the vision for us is long term. We're not looking to say start paying ourselves or make a profit on year one. That wasn't the idea. It's to build something of significance that will pay dividends down the road through patient care and patient satisfaction and patient confidence. And so that is what I think most young docs have to understand when they're going into startup, even practice acquisition. Like you're going to take a cut. You're going to have to be pretty lean for probably close to 2 years, 3 years. I mean, Brady and I haven't taken a dollar out of the business because we keep reinvesting into it. That will, again, hopefully, you just got to believe in yourself that you can deliver it. And I remember April of last year, lock yourself in a dark closet. It's a depressing time. Not that many starts. Your working cap starting to get a little low. And then, you got to grind through it. You got to, that it's going to happen.
That's what separates the real entrepreneurs from the fakers, the people who are just trying, because every entrepreneur has to go through that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I think, one of the major positives of a partnership. Like I told you from the beginning, I'm a very confident guy. And when you're going through it alone, it could be definitely elevated. And then, there's days where I'm like, hey, Brady, give a call to this contract. I can't. We'll lose this guy if I get on the phone, and vice versa, right? Hey, Kory, call the bank, man. Like what? And so there's that aspect of things. There's the team dynamic part of things. It's like, I'm having a week, man. Can you just take care of this little nuanced thing, right? And so I think the load of doing it solo, it's even more elevated.
Choose your partners wisely, because it could go the opposite way.
No doubt. No
To
doubt.
Kory's point, that is the most crucial thing is like, doing it alone is so hard. You have nobody to talk to and you really are alone. Even when it comes to, letting someone go or making hiring decisions, having someone to bounce stuff off of is just, there's nothing better. And I've done it alone and with people. Man, I hate doing it alone. I'll never do that again.
Oh,
And this, I think, is a good time to throw a plug in for P.O.P, right? I mean, that's one of the things that P.O.P brings significantly is a big group of like-minded doctors that understand and have been in different stages. Like, I was very overwhelmed of being even in the room during that annual event,
really?
right? Because I'm a year old doctor or a year old practice owner, and I'm in with some big names, some guys that I've looked up to for a long time, and being asked to contribute, and I'm like, I got nothing for you.
But isn't
I just
it?
got problems.
But like, not to keep slapping P.O.P on the back here, but like, I think that's the most aspirational part about it. We have doctors that have 60, 70 employees, right? And then at the same time, we have, I mean, it works out to be about 15% of our membership are doctors just like you and Brady, right? Like, and the cool part about like the 4 doctors that kicked this thing off, I mean, we talked about should we have it be only bigger practices? And they're like, no, we want the young new people in here because they bring the fresh ideas. They're going to keep us sharp. Like, you bring a ton of value there because you're in the room and they're like, look what's coming up. And he might not be in my market, but the next Kory and Brady might be. So we better stay on our toes. It's an awesome dynamic. Real quick question for you. I love it. I'm a big core values guy, right? And one of mine is be a learner, right? Be a positive life force, be a learner. Those are my 2. If anyone's asking if there's ever a trivia question about me. But anyway, so when you put that shovel in the ground, right, to where you are today, what's the thing you would go back to, shovel in the ground day, and go like, dude, like, this is the one thing I learned since that moment that I wish I would. You should probably do it this way. Or, what was like the big learning or takeaway that you would give yourself 3 years ago, 2 years ago when you did that?
Well, first off, I'd do it again. 100% I'd do it again. And we've gone through a lot of ups and downs, which is just startup entrepreneurial basis. I don't know if this answers your question. The first thing that comes to mind is the thing I grossly underestimated was the referral network. Grossly underestimated it. Like, I have a lot of friends and colleagues that I've known for quite some time, some dental school, some post dental school, and you just automatically think they're going to refer to you. But like in any dental office, they have their referral patterns, and patterns are hard to break. You have different staff members that are in the office that are maybe getting treated by other providers, and so it's not necessarily the doctor's recommendation, right? It goes to the front, hey, refer to Grahl, and we're going to refer here, right? Because my daughter's or son's getting treated here already, right? And so that is what I think the crazy underestimated part for me was. And then it's funny, my pest control guy, actually, he branched out on his own and started his own business. And he goes, man, everyone will tell you, yeah, once you open, I'll refer to you. And, the first 4 months of his business, none of his friends and colleagues were referring, right? And he just was blunt with one of his friends, like, hey, why haven't you switched over? And he goes, man, just to be honest with you, I didn't think he'd make it.
Oh.
And it's something, this is the learning value of it. It's something I never even thought of. It never crossed my mind that we would not make it. And then I'm like, you know what? As a GP, a brand new orthodontic office, startup, scratch, are they going to be here in 6 months? Are they going to be here in 12 months? I'm going to send my patients over, and are the lights going to be on? I think it's a very valid thing unconsciously or consciously that they think of. And when he said that to me, I was like, oh, we got to get our smiles out and show like, no, we hit 18 months. we're at breakpoint. Now we're on close to 2 years, and we now have a flow of patients. And now you're starting to see at month, 14, 15, 16, the referral basis start to increase. Not that they forgot about us. They're like, oh, you know what? Orthobar's still around. They're still clicking. Things are moving. But it's one of those things that I had never thought of, because you're going to, like, our personalities, you're going to make it happen. But, it's a startup business.
So here's my next question. Jason, I'll let you have the next one if you got one teed up. All right. I live like in the cornfields here in Minnesota. All right. So that's what it is. I'm fascinated. What's the orthodontic or dental? What's it like practicing in Las Vegas, Nevada? I mean, that sounds so exotic to me. I can't tell you. Do you think is it a different animal? I mean, than probably what I'm accustomed to here in the Midwest or other parts of the country?
I think the hardest thing about Vegas, or the thing that's different, is it can be a very transient city. People come in, come out, but I think it's starting to change. Just the dynamic of the country and those sorts of things, kind of post COVID, those sorts of things, that I think the Las Vegas market has changed, where, like, it used to be where if you knew someone that grew up here, was born and raised here, that'd be a unicorn. And I think now it's starting to shift over. If people are setting roots down here and staying. And I think it's because we're getting more industry that's coming into Las Vegas, especially in the Southwest where we're at. We talking about movie studios, technology, some companies moving out of, say, California, and people moving with it. A lot of warehouse here. And it's not just, industry, typical strip, restaurants, and those sorts of things. I think they're starting to get more foundational companies here, and people are staying in this area. The outskirts of Vegas, like, everyone knows Vegas for the strip, but the outskirt communities are awesome. Really, really good people, a hodgepodge of people, like very, very eclectic group of people that are in Las Vegas from all areas of the country. And so that's what I think so unique about it, right? You have everything here.
Talk about technology. I know you guys from our conversations, you guys are pretty progressive, right? A progressive practice. And I think it's interesting too. I'm going to give you, we talk about unicorns. I talk to a lot of new business owners, and I'll say for the most part, the doctors in P.O.P aren't this way, but like, I think a mistake that a lot of young or newer owners make is they cut corners on technology. They cut corners on supplies. Like, I mean, I still can't wrap my head around, like, I have no money. I'm going to build my own, website, and it looks a little janky, I know. And I use these brackets from China, and they're 20 cents. And and the list goes on and on. I think from the get-go, you guys have been doing high tech. You've been using the best products from day one. And that's not normal. I would just say that. But, like, is there technologies? What's exciting you guys in that realm around products and technology?
You gotta know the core vision and value of why you built it. And when you look on the internet, and it's social media driven, right? When you see certain doctor smiles that just pop through without even seeing who posted it. And then you see, and this is what gravitated me towards orthodontics, right? The 4 bicuspid case where it's just dumped in, and then you lean in, and I'm like, and I'm doing veneers at the time, right? And I'm like, oh, that's different. That looks like a veneer case. I need to do that. And so when I entered residency, I already had a bias towards a particular system. And so I knew when I built my practice, whatever the cost is, I'm delivering that same smile, the smile that I was treated with gets done in that way. So all that takes is, if you know what your vision is, you know your long-term goal, you know you're going to be able to achieve it, then don't shortcut the investment. And we have partnered with, excellent people. Ormco is a huge, we're a Damon Ultima practice, right? We could easily set
most expensive bracket in the market.
Easily. And we could have said, you know what, we're not let's do Q2. Like that's what I was let's do Q2. But I was treating an Ultima, so no, we're not going to cut corners there. Let's just get half the cost Pan-Ceph. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to get an iCat. 3D technology needs to happen. Let's get just a $5,000 scanner. No, we need to offer Invisalign in our office. It's the biggest company out there. We need to have an iTero, right? Those are big purchase items. One of the biggest fights that Brady and I had early on was our lab. Do we have a sink? Do we not? We don't have a sink because it's all in on digital tech, right? I don't want to have a stone cutting model in our office, right? So
you're doing 3D printing. Yeah, that's amazing.
Our records room is huge, right? It's something that is the first point of contact with that patient outside of the phone call. So going into an expansive records room, understanding how important photos are, so it's not shoot your iPhone camera photo. It's big cameras, studio lighting, those sorts of things. Now that we're now building out our lab, right? So it's going to be 3D technology, 3D printers. And it's just investing in the products that are going to get you there. Because why bother doing a startup if you're just going to do it like everyone else? Why bother? Like if you're going to offer the dollar bracket, because and you're going to sit there for 24 months, messing around with wire, right? Put on the proper system that you are comfortable with. I'm not pushing anyone one way or another, but there is a reason why we use Damon Ultima in our office. We do think it's a differentiator in our smiles across the valley, right? And so those are just a few things that we've invested in. We invest in Apple computers as our tech, right? It's just different. Everyone uses PC. We used Wave Ortho as our software that's Mac compatible. And so again, it might just delay us another year from paying ourselves, but you know what? I feel pretty darn good of putting on a solid system, a well-studied system, a excellent company, excellent representative of those companies that want us to be successful. Not just sell product, like any person can sell product, but truly like feel it when you're doing positive or you're feeling it on the negative side. They're the biggest celebrators when we have a positive month is our companies.
Yeah.
But it is something that you have to look at. Anytime Brady and I ever went cheap on certain things, I won't mention them, we got burned. We ate it, and we paid double because we had to pay that off and then do it right. So do it right the first time. And now that we're getting into an area that we're starting to hit our inflection point or break even point and starting to get into profitability, now we're starting to look at other things like remote monitoring and those sorts of things so that we can increase that for our patients. You can't do it right away. One, you don't have a patient flow. And two, it is cost prohibitive on a startup practice. So
with your mindset and like kind of looking to the future and that championship, headspace, what does the future look like for you? Are you and Brady people who want to have 10 practices? Do you want to just have one amazing one? Do you want to what is the goal?
Going back to why we both became orthodontists, right? Is the people, is delivering the best possible smiles. There's a reason why our names are not on a part of it's not Grahl Orthodontics or Peterson Orthodontics, it's Orthobar, right? So there's multiple avenues in which we can go. One of the challenges that was brought up, right, is young providers being able to afford to build a startup practice. And so one of the things that we're thinking of is how do we build the brand of it in a non-OSO viewpoint. And so giving young docs the ability to go own their businesses, maybe in a franchise type capacity.
Is there almost like a barbershop style model that could exist where someone buys their chair? Is that kind of where your heads are at?
Not necessarily in the same practice, but say for instance, like young doc in Scottsdale. I don't know Scottsdale. I'm not going to go there. I have no network in Scottsdale, but they're like, hey, like, where do I even start? Right? Okay, well, let's give you some of the foundational tools and kind of run with it. And so we're kind of working that out. I mean, obviously, our sole focus is to make this location, our startup, booming, across Las Vegas, and then possibly moving on to a second location. Because the one thing that we never want to lose sight of is patient satisfaction and knowing the patient's coming in the office. I think there's a certain amount of, say, starts or dollar amounts where just it starts to lose that flair. You start to lose that personal touch. Even though you try real hard. I mean, if you got 150 patients a day, it's really hard to say, hey, Jason, hey, Scott, how you guys doing today? How's the kid? It's really hard. But if you keep it at a certain number and you charge for the value of that, and you have that branding behind you, that's the direction that we feel we want to go. Is people know us, we know them, but I think there's a certain cap to how you can continue to build that in a single location.
That's interesting.
Where then it starts to become like any standard orthodontic office or OSO, and it's just like, hey, come in, so and so is going to tie you. I'll see you in 4 to 6 weeks, right?
If you're interested in learning about Orthobar, you can go to orthobar.com. Great URL, easy to remember. Go there. You can click to schedule a complimentary consultation, and it's there that you can get. It's free, right, doctor?
Absolutely.
Hop on free. And it doesn't matter if you live directly in Vegas. You can be in the surrounding areas. It's worth the trip to get an amazing smile. So thank you so much for your time today, Dr. Grahl. Really great stuff. Congratulations on what looks to be an amazing practice. Hey, Scott.
Yes, Jason.
I want you to tell everybody about, today we've had 2 hitters. You brought in a veteran, and then you brought in the new young guns. It seems like you have all the best docs.
We covered the bench today, and I want to talk to Kory when we're done here about hockey. I heard hockey, and being from Minnesota, I can't wait to dig into that a little bit more. But with that being said, yes, if you're interested in our group, schedule a call. We talk about the business of ortho. We talk about your practice. We talk about what we do as a group, and if it's a good fit, come join us. If it isn't, that's fine. We got to spend some time visiting, and I always enjoy the conversation. So
you'll make a new friend.
Always make a new friend.
Easy to talk to. I want to, lastly but not least, please, if you are an orthodontist and need marketing services, think about Brain Bites Creative and think about hitting that contact us button and having Caroline give you one of her amazing free digital analysis. Shows you where you're at in search, in paid, on social, everywhere. It's a great value, and it's 100% free. And Brain Bites is just looking to make friends and help people out. So there is no, what is it called when they make you no sticking? What is it called when you make somebody no hassle? We're not going to hassle you. That's what it is. We're going to hassle you. I want to thank you guys very much for your time today. Dr. Grahl, Scott, the whole team at the P.O.P Podcast. I'm Jason Sirotin. We'll see you next time.